The Sims 2 is now 20 years old. If that doesn't make you feel old, then you just have no soul, I guess. September 14th, 2004 was the date that one of the most popular, most influential, and most importantly, best games ever made was released. It refined everything that made The Sims 1 such a hit in the first place, while making huge improvements to the game's formula, adding a fully 3D environment, a working Mendelian genetic system, new neighborhoods with their own complex lore, alongside a whole cacophony of wacky things for your Sims to do and or be killed by, making The Sims 1 look absolutely ancient from the word go. I can't give you an accurate estimate of how long I spent playing The Sims 2 as a kid. If you made a pie chart of my childhood, I'm sure a small but significantly sized portion would be taken up just by this one game. It was one of the first video games I ever played, and even at my young age, I was absolutely blown away by the sheer overwhelming amount of content that even the base game offered. This video isn't going to follow much of the regular is not fun formula. It's not so much going to be a review of The Sims 2, it's more going to be a retrospective of the PC game and its expansions. This video won't cover the many console games and spin-offs that spawned from The Sims 2, such as The Sims 2 Castaway, all those really weird spin-offs on the DS and PSP. Because firstly, this video is already long enough as it is, and secondly, some of these spin-offs are so wacky that they deserve a whole separate video of their own. With all that out of the way, let's begin.
The Sims 2 begins with a choice of several neighborhoods, including the typical suburbia of Pleasant View, the bizarre desert hamlet of Strangetown, the Shakespearean drama of Veronaville, or the choice to create your own neighborhoods from scratch. All three neighborhoods have a specific play order with certain pre-scripted events to introduce you to each family's plot threads and the game's features. You can feel free to ignore these. You can always just create your own Sims and cause chaos right out the gate. In case you're interested, let me give you a simple overview of each neighborhood's plotlines. Pleasant View is a family drama centered around the disappearance of wealthy matriarch Bella Goth. She was abducted by aliens after rejecting the sexual advances of the town's local stud, Don Lothario. Bella would never be seen again, and in the interim, Don has gotten engaged to Bella's daughter, Cassandra. All while his mistress's sister is also engaged to Cassandra's father and Bella's former husband, Mortimer, which is really kinda disgusting. Will our little horn dog marry Cassandra for her money? Will he leave her at the altar like the dirty little dog he is, due to his overwhelming fear of monogamy? Who else but Dawn? It's Dawn. Dawn. You never really know what he's gonna do next. It's Dawn. Dawn.
Giggity giggity goo!
Strangetown is as self-explanatory a name for a place as it gets. A town with aliens, evil scientists, missing people, an allegedly murderous spinster who had a baby with the Grim Reaper himself, rampant game-breaking bugs and glitches. The lore behind this neighborhood is so insane that it continues to captivate audiences to this day. It'd be an injustice to spoil any of this for you. You should really play it yourself. Your jaw will hit the floor at some of the twists and turns in Strangetown. Veronaville is easily my favorite modern adaptation of William Shakespeare's iconic play, Romeo and Juliet. Trust me, it makes Romeo and Juliet look totally pathetic by comparison. Unless your Year 10 English teacher totally despised you and your classmates by making you study Hamlet instead, you should all know the plot. It's a story of star-crossed teenage lovers stuck in the middle of a brutal Italian-style family feud. Will Romeo and Juliet die for each other just like they did in this 16th century masterpiece? Or will you write your own happy ending? That's up for you to decide. Later expansions also added other new neighborhoods, but the pre-made storylines in those ones are so barren that they are really not worth mentioning. As mentioned before, you could always just start your own neighborhoods, and you have a remarkable amount of control over how they look. You can even import terrain height maps from SimCity 4 and use them in your game. Of course, a major selling point of the game was the ability to create your own Sims along with their own stories and lore. Create a Sim in The Sims 2 was an absolutely groundbreaking character editor for its time. The sheer amount of control over how your Sim looks and behaves was almost unprecedented for a game of this vintage. You could make your Sims look as beautiful or totally fugly as you'd like. You could also now choose what outfits your Sims wear and when, and even what hair and makeup combinations they wear with those outfits. As opposed to The Sims 1, which gave you one head, the choice of one everyday outfit, and random everything else. The game also has a fully functional genetic system, complete with dominant and recessive alleles. So for example, if one of your Sims' grandparents had red hair, but both of your Sims' parents have brown hair, there's a small chance that your Sim will be a redhead. The Create a Sim menu even has a genetic splicer that lets you create more accurate looking children. Personalities were also fleshed out, with the Zodiac-based personality point system remaining, while adding a new system called Aspirations. Namely, you have family Sims who want to have large families with tons of kids and grandkids, fortune Sims who want to earn tons of money and fill their houses with extremely expensive things, knowledge Sims who want to explore the unknown and develop their skills, popularity Sims who just want to have as many friends as possible, romance Sims who want to balance as many romantic and sexual relationships as they can get away with, and pleasure Sims who just want to have fun. These aspirations govern what your Sim wants and what your Sim fears. These wants and fears are arguably The Sims 2's central game mechanic. Wants and fears govern everything: who your Sim cares about, what they want to do, or what relationships and job opportunities they want to pursue. Failure to correctly balance wants and fears can have dire consequences for your Sim. If they realize too many of their fears, they can have a total mental breakdown and be visited by an evil psychologist that only they can see. Which I used to think was really funny when I was a kid, but now in retrospect, it's actually really disturbing. After making your Sims, they'll need a place to live. You can either move them into one of the game's pre-built houses that they can afford, or move them into an empty lot where you can build them their dream home if you have the cash to build it. Though of course you can just build at any time because that's also one of the game's central game mechanics that people really liked. Sims, like people, need their essential needs met. Food to eat, beds to sleep on, couches to relax on, people to see and talk to, showers to bathe in, toilets to relieve themselves in, things to actually do, and a clean environment to thrive in. Sims can meet a lot of these needs by themselves if you have free will turned on, but other needs will require more assistance from the player. Also, just like people, Sims die, and if you fail to meet your Sim's essential needs, or even just by total accident, your Sim will be greeted by arguable Sims series mascot, the Grim Reaper. Your Sims can die from starvation, house fires, drowning, getting electrocuted, or just old age. But some of these deaths that they included in this game are just plain fucking disturbing. Sims can be crushed by Murphy beds, crushed by satellites, have a heart attack from fright, being struck by lightning while flying a kite, can be eaten by a carnivorous houseplant, or worse, a swarm of flies. These aren't even all of the cruel ways your Sims can be sent straight to Davy Jones' locker, but it does explain why I'll never move into an apartment with a Murphy bed. The relationship system also received an overhaul throughout the game's life. The base game retained and elaborated on The Sims 1's daily and lifetime relationship meter, with further additions such as best friends, influence, more detailed dating and group outings among friends, mutual contacts, and hobby clubs. Meaning there's all sorts of ways for your Sims to meet new people, fall in love, and make friends and enemies. Now that we've covered the basics, let's look at The Sims 2's expansion packs. The Sims 2 University was released on March 1st, 2005, and added the whole on-campus college experience, with all the partying, streaking, frat houses, sororities, secret societies, peer pressure, and occasionally studying that comes with it. Attending university opens up many new employment opportunities simply not available to Sims who didn't go to college. The expansion also adds mobile phones, musical instruments your Sims can learn to use, and even the ability to raise the dead. Yes, using this phone you get as a reward for rising up through the paranormal career path. You can call the Grim Reaper, and for a fee, he'll resurrect your loved one. However, shortchange Death himself, and he either won't resurrect your Sim at all, or, arguably worse, he'll resurrect them as a zombie. Zombies can't age or die from natural causes, but they are exceptionally slow, can't have kids, and other Sims are absolutely repulsed by their presence. The Sims 2 Nightlife was released on September 13th, 2005, and it expanded on the depth of the social and dating aspect of the game, while also adding a new downtown district filled with nightclubs, bars, restaurants, and bowling alleys. It also added the ability to drive and own cars for the first time in The Sims, the pleasure aspiration, and blood-sucking vampires. Vampires can't age or die of starvation, but are required to stay out of sunlight to avoid burning to death. And they also make scary as fuck faces in the player icons. The Sims 2 Open for Business was released on March 2nd, 2006, and allowed your Sims to start their own small businesses, whether it be their own clothing boutique, a salon, a toy store, or even a bistro. There are many options in this expansion to become your own boss. Open for Business adds new talent badges which enable your Sims to become either a master seamstress, florist, toy maker, salesman, or even a modern-day Dr. Frankenstein. Masters of Robotics can build servos, which is basically like a household butler robot with maxed out skills. Just keep them away from water. The Sims 2 Pets was released on October 18th, 2006, and it added cats and dogs to the game. As you can probably imagine, this was the most popular expansion pack for obvious reasons. After all, pets are ubiquitous in our lives, and being able to have them in our own virtual life sandbox is a no-brainer. Pets also adds werewolves, who are like vampires because they also have enhanced abilities during the nighttime, but they turn back into regular people when the sun comes up. Sims 2 Seasons was released on March 1st, 2007, and as the name suggests, it added seasons and the weather to the game. Seasons also enhanced gardening by allowing you to grow your own produce. Seasons also added the most unique playable creature in The Sims, with the Plant Sim. These green-skinned creatures are Sims who use too much pesticide when tending to their gardens. They sit in the sun instead of eating food, need lots of water, and can reproduce asexually. And as you can imagine, they make really good gardeners. The Sims 2 Bon Voyage was released on September 7th, 2007, and it added new vacation destinations for your Sims to visit. These destinations are less holiday hotspots and more entire adventures in their own right. Sure, you could just enjoy the beach or mingle with the locals, but why do that when you could go into the woods, befriend friggin' Bigfoot, and make him your doggone butler? Shut up and take my money. The Sims 2 Free Time was released on February 26, 2008, and added a new hobby system, which gave your Sims all new ways to enhance their skills and meet like-minded people with the same hobbies. For example, the game adds a scrapped car that mechanic Sims can restore into a working vehicle. The game also adds new skills such as pottery and sewing. Free Time added a useful feature that allows your Sim to age up with 3 of their same-aged friends at the same time. So now you don't have to keep cycling through different households so that your teen couple can keep dating as adults, which was a common frustration amongst Sims fans. Free Time was also the first time many people learned about the then upcoming sequel, The Sims 3. The then lead producer of the Sims series, Rod Humble, will deliver a computer to your door as a housewarming gift, which, you guessed it, has The Sims 3 on it as a game your Sims can play. How meta. And finally, The Sims 2 Apartment Life was released on August 25th, 2008. It added apartment buildings and townhouses for multiple households, and it also further enhanced the social systems of the game by adding new social classes. And also, for some reason, it added witches. I'm not sure where the link is there. All of these expansion packs were designed with each other in mind. For example, you can open a pet shop if you have both Open for Business and Pets installed, or you can have a vampire-werewolf hybrid if you have both Pets and Nightlife installed. The possibilities are really endless. There were also 10 stuff packs, which didn't add any new features, but added all sorts of new clothes and furniture for your Sims to enjoy. There were even sponsored collaborations with H&M and IKEA. If that's somehow still not enough content for you, The Sims 2 also has a vibrant custom content creation and modding scene that still adding all sorts of new things to the game, even to this day. Whether it's just new hairstyles, clothes and makeup for your Sims, adding real-life objects to the game, or even entire new features and storylines that the developers probably never imagined. The modding scene also continues to release all sorts of new fixes for bugs and the frustrations of running the game on modern PCs. Getting The Sims 2 to work on a modern computer will require a bit of preparation. The community-made graphics rules maker, for example, is an absolute requirement if you intend to run The Sims 2 or even SimCity 4 on a modern PC. It will allow the game to run at modern resolutions, though keep in mind resolutions over 1080p will likely require further community mods to scale the UI to the correct size. Mac users have it worse. Due to Apple switching from PowerPC to Intel-based CPUs in the mid-2000s, not all of the Sims 2 expansion packs were released on Mac OS, and the game won't work at all on Apple Silicon-based Macs due to Apple cutting support for 32-bit based software, which The Sims 2 is. If you want to play The Sims 2 today, your options are rather limited. EA hasn't sold the game officially for nearly a decade. However, physical copies of the game are so plentiful that finding a full collection of the base game and its expansions is rather simple and not very expensive at all. If you have the physical space to store them in your house, that is. In a day and age where many people can go years without even thinking about physical media, asking someone to buy up to 19 different pieces of physical media can be a bit of a hassle. I just happen to own the Ultimate Collection release on my EA account from many years ago, from when that was still available.
Overall, you should absolutely play The Sims 2 if you can. The game has stood the test of time much better than both its predecessor and its sequels. In some ways, it defined the culture of the late 2000s with its encouragement of creativity, its quirky aesthetics, its surprisingly deep lore that still captivates its staggeringly huge audience, and its deep gameplay that very much defines the Bushnell rule of easy to learn, hard to master. 20 years after this game's release, I'm still discovering new things when I play it. The Sims 2 is one of those games that I demand that you play, because this is very much the type of game that modern game publishers are more than capable of making, but they have decided for us, without asking, mind you, that we don't actually want anymore. If we keep telling modern game publishers to get stuffed with their excuses for games that they keep releasing, and keep playing good games like this that were actually made with love and talent, then maybe they'll be convinced otherwise. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this retrospective into one of my all-time favorite games, and I'll see you next time.